Om. 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 Sahan Vavatu Sahanau Bhunau Sayankara Vavahai Tejasvinadhitu Vahai Om Shanti Shanti Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Jai Gurudev. We'll start again from this twofold teaching methodology. We're doing the 11th verse of chapter 2. Ashocyananvashocastvam prajnavadamscha bhashase gatasu nagatasumscha nanushocanti panditaha. So grief, therefore, is never legitimate. From the practical person's standpoint, sorrow is useless. And for the one who believes that the jiva continues after the death of the body, sorrow also is not a problem because the jiva itself does not die. So either practically speaking or even considering that the standpoint that the jiva remains even after death, both ways, grief is not legitimate. Twofold teaching methodology, pravritti and nivritti. The first portion of the Vedas is in the form of pravritti, meaning that you engage yourself in positive pursuits in order to accomplish certain ends, which you do not have now and want to accomplish. These pursuits may be in the form of progeny, wealth, another world, a better birth, and so on, all of which require appropriate effort to achieve the desired ends. This subject matter of the Vedas, in the form of effort based pursuit in terms of action, karma, is called Pravritti Atmaka Shastra. So it is effort based pursuit in terms of action, karma. So there is an end result that you want to gain that you do not have right now, but you want to pursue. The karma enjoined in the first portion of the Vedas is threefold from the standpoint of the means of doing it: mental activity, manasa, speech, vachika, and physical activity, kayika, involving the limbs. For example, repeating the Vedas is a prayer employing both mind and speech. Chanting the Purusha Sukta is also a prayer in praise of the Lord, the Purusha, who is everything. The Purusha Sukta also gives you the knowledge of the Lord. Any sukta is both a prayer and something to be understood. Chanting is a karma which is vachika. However, chanting can also be an anga, a part of a ritual. For instance, a pandita may chant the Purusha Sukta line by line while offering a flower or some other oblation. Thus, the same mantras can be chanted, themselves forming a prayer or used as part of a ritual. This threefold karma, kayika, vachika, and manasa, is the subject matter of the first portion of the Vedas and is what is meant by pravritti, what you must do to accomplish certain desirable ends. The last portion of the Vedas, called Vedanta, is Nivritti Atmaka Shastra, in the sense that is purely in the form of negation. The first part of the verse we are presently studying, Ashocyan Anvashochahatvam, which reveals the entire subject matter of the Gita, is also in the form of negation. In Pravritti, the doer, the Karta, is retained. The Karta is told to do certain things in order to accomplish certain results. Whereas in the Vedanta portion, the very notion that I am the doer is questioned and negated. Here also, there is something to be accomplished, that which is not already accomplished by you, the karta. The accomplishment is negation of the doership in the wake of the knowledge of the Atma. This portion of the Veda, which says that you are the reality of everything, that you are the whole, is in the form of negation, nivritti, in the sense that all the notions that you superimpose upon the self, the Atma, are negated. Therefore, this part of the Veda is in the form of knowledge, jnana, leading to the negation and recognition of what I am not and an appreciation of what I am. So we'll just pause here. So between the two parts of the Veda, the two-fold methodology of teaching, twofold teaching methodology. One is Pravritti Atmaka Shastra, and the second is the Nivritti Atmaka Shastra. Pravritti Atmaka Shastra involves, it is the first portion of the Veda, whereas Nivritti Atmaka Shastra is the last portion of the Veda. So in the first portion of the Veda, which is also called Karma Kanda, what you have not accomplished, but you want to accomplish, some desired ends. You are told to do some ritual. You put in some effort. So it is all karta oriented. It is focusing on the doer. And you do this through three means, either manasa, vachika, or kayika. Either by doing some mental activity, chanting prayer, or chanting it loud by your speech, or by doing certain rituals, by offering oblations. Whereas the
Here,
nivrit,
desire of mumukshatva is also included in pravritti.
no,
Hmm.
mumukshutvam is the beginning of the, that is the only desired end for the Nivrityatmaka Shastra.
Hmm. But here,
Because,
the rituals can be done for this birth or the next birth, which you have not accomplished in this birth. That that sentence is also there, no? For which you have not accomplished, or for the
hmm,
next birth, something like that.
yeah, or for a better birth. You're doing
Better
all
birth.
this for a better birth. Like you're all talking of punya, you only want to accumulate punya so that you will gain a better birth. Whereas the Nivritti Atmaka Shastra talk is only focused on, is all about jnana. Jnana of what? Jnana of what you are and what you are not. So it starts by negation, starts by negating. You are not the body, you're not the mind, not the intellect, not the ego, not the memory. So what is left is that is what you are. You are the whole, you are the truth of the reality. So it is doing away with the doership, doing away with the karta. And the beginning of this verse, Ashocha Nanvashochastvam, is the gist of the whole thing. It starts with the negation. And this is very nice. Any sukta is both a prayer and something to be understood. See, the Purusha Sukta also gives you the knowledge of the Lord. So, all the suktas that we have, they both act as a prayer, as a vachika or a manasika prayer, part of Karma Kanda, or you can use that they talk of the self, they talk of the divine, something to be understood, So it is ingrained. The Vedanta aspect is ingrained actually in each of these suktas. Even for simple, if you look at the Ganesha Sukta, Ajam Nirvikalpam Nirakaramekam. It can be both a prayer or it is actually talking, it is describing the highest. So the jnana aspect is embedded in each of these prayers. Leading to the negation and recognition of what I am not and an appreciation of what I am. Sorrow is something that is superimposed upon the Atma due to the non recognition of the nature, the reality, Swarupa of the Atma. Therefore, all sorrow is really without reason because sorrow itself has its roots only in non recognition of the self and confusion. The world, Anatma, cannot cause you sorrow, nor can Atma be a source of sorrow. Thus, this verse starts with the negative particle nan, meaning not, ashocyan, which means na shocyan. This is such an important sentence. I think we should just get it ingrained. Sorrow is something that is superimposed upon the Atma due to the non recognition of the nature, the reality, Swarupa of the Atma. So, therefore, the world cannot be. All sorrow is really without reason because sorrow itself has its roots only in non recognition of the self and confusion. The world, anatma, cannot cause you sorrow, nor can atma be a source of sorrow. Generally, and therefore this verse starts with a negative particle nan. Na shocyan, ashocyan. Generally, a nan would not be the first word of any shastra, negation not being an appropriate beginning. A shastra should begin with something positive. Here, the shastra being in the form of nivritti begins with nan. It begins with the word ashocyan, meaning that nothing is deserving of grief. Because Arjuna was in sorrow, the word ashocyan is extremely relevant here. The Lord is called Hari because he is the one whose grace removes everything. The Lord is a robber, a remover of all your problems, of everything that you do not want. Lord Vishnu is called Hari and Lord Shiva is called Hara. Both their names originate from the same root Hra, that means to rob or to remove. And what are they removing? They're removing all the sorrow, the so-called sorrow, right? Sorrow is not reasonable. Arjuna is told, you are aggrieved for no reason. You have entertained grief with reference to situations which do not demand any grief on your part. Bhishma and Drona can take care of themselves. You need not have any grief on their behalf or for any other reason. If you understand everything from the standpoint of Atma, there is no sorrow. From any other standpoint, also, sorrow is not reasonable. It is not that Arjuna was advised to have no sorrow. Such advice would not have been proper. Therefore, we should not say that we should not be sad because the Gita says so. Nor does the Shastra say that it is not proper to be sad. It says there is no reason for sadness, meaning that sadness, sorrow is something to be inquired into and understood. This is very subtle, no? It says Arjuna was not told, don't be sad. He was told, you are grieving for something that does not need to be grieved, that there is no reason for your grief. And what that reason is was expounded in the Gita.
What is the that sentence? It is to be understood why is the sad sorrow or sadness. That
Mhm.
can you
Sorrow is
read?
something to be inquired into and
Inquire.
understood,
Mhm.
because the very basis of sorrow is of confusion, of non recognition of the self. That is the reason why there is sorrow. So, therefore, it has to be inquired into. What is the soul? Where is it coming from? What am I grieving for? Am I grieving for something that is changing? So, grief can be the reasons that we've seen earlier was either it can be from the Atma or Anatma. There are only two things. So, can Atma be the reason? No, because the
But
nature of Atma is Satchidananda.
mm,
Is Anatma the reason?
no.
Because it is always changing. Something which is changing, how can you hold it and make it not changing? And therefore, when there is birth, there is death for the body, mind, intellect complex. So, when that is inevitable, Anatma cannot be the source of your sorrow. So, by this reasoning it out, you remove that sorrow, the seed of sorrow. So, it has to be understood. Then there is no sorrow. You are left without sorrow. Otherwise, if you're in that state of confusion, it will continue. So, removing that confusion, that hari and hara, removal of the Lord is who removes this confusion from the mind. Two orders of reality. The Gita says that you have entertained grief for which there is no reason because neither the Atma nor Anatma is the source of sorrow. This statement must then be proved, which the Gita Shastra does by revealing that Atma, whose nature is fullness, Ananda Swarupa, cannot be affected by Anatma Mithya, because the very existence of Anatma depends on Atma Satya, the truth of everything. Then to be affected best accused is
Dr. Brahma, your voice is breaking.
I mean
Yeah.
of on top of is any
Can't hear you
being
properly. Brahmarajji, audio is breaking.
Is it for just now?
On two sentences.
Is just now or is it from a long time?
No,
No, just two sentences.
Just 2, 3
Okay.
sentences.
Okay, I will just try. I will continue for a few minutes more. In case it continues, then in case anyone else, I think Sumaji, if you are okay to take that is around here. Okay, just give me a few more minutes. In case it's continuing, one of you please take over.
I can read if someone can project.
So I'll read this again. Two orders of reality. The Gita says that you have entertained grief for which there is no reason because neither the Atma nor Anatma is the source of sorrow. This statement must then be proved, which the Gita Shastra does by revealing that Atma, whose nature is fullness, Ananda Swarupa, cannot be affected by Anatma Mithya, because the very existence of Anatma depends on Atma Satya, the truth of everything. The Atma then is not going to be affected by Mithya, just as the imaginary snake you see on the rope cannot affect the rope. If the rope is wet, it is wet, but it has not been made so by the sliminess of the snake you see sitting on top of it. The Atma is not affected by anything that has been superimposed upon it. Therefore, the basis, the Adhisthana, Satya, is not affected by Mithya. Mithya depends upon the Atma for its existence and sustenance, for its fuel, its very fibers of being. The only thing that could affect Atma would be something enjoying the same order of reality. When two entities belonging to the same order of reality, such as the father in law and the son in law, come together in a relationship, the dependency of one will affect the other. If the son in law does not have a job and finds it necessary to move in with his father in law, the son in law's dependency will definitely affect the father in law. This dependence is entirely different and is not what is under discussion here. What we are discussing is Atma, which is Satya, and Anatma, which is Mithya. Just as the Swarupa of water is not affected by the wave, the Swarupa of the Atma, Satchit Ananda, is not affected by Anatma. This subject matter is discussed throughout the Gita, starting with this verse. Although the verse starts with a negative particle nan, it is not an improper beginning because the whole Gita is nivritti atmaka. Before beginning the Mahabharata, Vyasa saluted the goddess of knowledge, Saraswati, and he started the first chapter of the Gita with the word Dhritarashtra, meaning the one who sustains the entire universe. In this way, prayer for an auspicious beginning was well taken care of, and nothing more was required. To begin the teaching with the statement, "There is no room for sorrow," as he did in this verse, is therefore a very effective beginning, although a negative particle was used. So we'll stop here for a while. We'll do Manana before going on to the verse number 12. So please share your understanding.
Here, Dhritarashtra, the word's meaning is who sustains the entire universe. So the that thinking what will happen, pap, punya, or karmas, everything. So that it automatically dissolves. So the only what Krishna is saying, we have to do that, and everything is taken care of. Means we, if we go with the dharma, everything will fall in place. So there will be nothing like there is no confusion or tension. Nothing will be there, and everything will be smooth.
It's not just about dharma. In fact, it is the whole gist of the Gita is kind of being given here. If you remember earlier, we read earlier that Atma, Anatma. Anatma is all that is the world, the material world, which includes dharma, artha, and kama. Moksha is the only thing which is related to Atma.
So for Nivritti Atmaka, this one, so he already know the materialistic Atma and Anatma, but the only deluded buddhi, because of the delusion, there was a conflict or confusion. So when this Dhritarashtra or this sentence means that word come, uh, our thinking totally changes.
Jai Gurudev. Can you please explain why, how Anatma is not responsible for the grief, the sorrow,
How it is not responsible?
for the grief or sorrow?
What is Anatma? The nature of Anatma is what? That which keeps changing, right? If you take the body, what is Anatma? What constitutes Anatma? Is all that is there in the visible world, what we see, what we objectify. Anything that you can see, perceive, becomes Anatma. So you see the body, you see your mind, you can see the thoughts, you can perceive your intellect, discerning and discriminating. You perceive your memory, you perceive your ego. All this is the Anatma. All this bundled up is the Anatma. And the nature of the Anatma is to change. The body changes from birth to youth to old age. Same thing with the mind. The mind keeps vacillating. So anything that is changing, that is the nature of, when you know it is the nature of Anatma, when you know that what is born is going to die, where is the reason that it cannot be the cause for your sorrow? It is anyway changing.
Hmm.
So how can it cause you sorrow? The truth of the matter is it's changing.
Hmm. Right. So it's
Isn't
only
it?
the ignorance of the reality is the cause of
Yes.
sorrow. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
And anatma is like the rope and the snake. Anatma is that which is dependent on satya. Anatma is mithya. Satya is what is. What is atma? Atma is Satchidananda. So anything which is superimposed upon atma cannot affect it. Like the sliminess of the snake cannot wet the rope.
Whatever impositions means, your mother, sister, everything is like the tags, no? That also.
Mm. Which one? I didn't get you.
I said the imposition, whatever we think we are a daughter, we are female,
The
like that.
different roles.
Yeah.
Mm,
So that makes us bondage. That creates the bondage.
mm.
And the source come from there of the sorrow.
See, this is why Gurudev says, no? He says, there is no misery in the world. If at all there is, give it to me. What he's saying is nothing but the 11th verse of chapter 2. There is no misery at all. Wake up. He says this, he says, you can either have a guru or misery. You can't have both. If you have the guru, there is no misery. Which means,
Basically, is when you have, like, you think you're feeling sad or sorrow, bottom line is we have to ask ourselves why you are sorrow
mm,
and understand. I mean, yeah, that's
mm,
what it said, right? Incurred into and
yes, and
understand.
understood.
Yeah. So when you really like that, the two orders of reality that we mentioned here, when you know Atma is one thing, which is the Satya or the truth, and its wholeness and nature of it is the happiness and whatnot. And as you said, Anatma is uh, Mithya. Like the example given was that snake superimposed on the rope. Um, so that's the Mithya. When the light is shined, so obviously that ignorance is what is causing all this problem. So when we, but there isn't really no any reason for it to be worried and not do things about it. You know, like people, okay, we feel sorry for ourselves, or then not going about doing our own things that to be done. You know, just take back seat because we are feeling sad about something,
Mm,
which is not necessary. That's what, because there's no cause for it. That's basically what is explained here.
yeah,
And basically the fear from everything, that superimpositions, that creates the sorrow. Otherwise, no other source.
The fear is because of the duality, right? That's what the,
Yeah.
yeah. And you don't, when you have that knowledge basically nailed in her head, then there isn't any second that then there won't be any fear.
No,
But
we
again, it's easy to say, but then we have to apply that to our life in every situation, and we
no
have
we
to
we
overcome the
take
problem. Yeah.
world changing world as if it is not means it is for permanent. We take everything that is ignorance. Actually, it is changing, but we think that we are living a permanent time. That's our misunderstanding. That is the ignorance. The world is not the problem, which is not creating the sadness. The attachment to it, that it stays permanently with us, that is the problem. So everything is changing is the most important knowledge to be known. And we take that which is changing as changeless. That ignorance is making the sadness, not the world itself. The attachment to the changeless, the changing world to be changeless, that makes the sadness.
That is what, no? Atma, Anatma, Viveka.
Viveka.
When that is not there, that is when you get confused. Example again, to Ninal's question, the changing world. See, there is a rose, for instance, there is a rose and it's fresh. You want the rose to continue to be fresh like that. But the reality is that it will change. It will wither away. The petals will fall away. The rose will dry up. And then as feeling sorrow because the rose is not fresh any longer. So is that rose the source of our sorrow? Or it is our non-understanding or misunderstanding that the rose is bound to change. Our expectation that the rose should continue to be fresh like that, and when it does not remain fresh, makes us sad, right? So the rose is not the reason for our sorrow. It is our misunderstanding which is the source of the sorrow. That confusion is the reason for our sorrow. That is why Krishna, Arjuna was not told to don't be sad. He was told there is no reason for sorrow. Look, Arjuna, there is no source. You're grieving for something that does not need to be grieved. When you extrapolate this rose to life and death, it's the same thing. You don't want anyone to die. Forget about others. You think you live forever. We live as if we're going to live forever. Only when death comes into your face, like someone close to you passes on, it hits, the reality hits in your face.
Also, like when we are relating that I with mine, that
No, that we do a process, in advanced course. There's a problem. And that process says it will change. It will not continue. It is impermanent. It will change. That is the main. We don't think that it changes. We think that problem is a permanent one, or the happiness is a permanent one. Everything.
Dr. Savita, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was saying that it is like when we disconnect with that I and we move towards the mind, everything we are relating with, this is that you relate everything that I and mine is the that causes that sorrow and that insecurity also, that fear also, like every emotions
emotion which are happening, they are because you are relating I with mine in a form that your inner self, that inner consciousness, that is insecure, and that is why, because of that ignorance, we are seeking happiness, or we are relating everything, that this relation, this profession, like any of your accomplishments, we are relating to that, because we are relating it, and we think that this is mine, this is my relation, this is my profession, and then that is the root cause of your sorrow, because you are taking it taking it as, that non-doership doesn't happen. So that because of that, you are thinking that this is all, that a small world is there, no? You are always thinking that this is my accomplishments, or my anything, like, so that is the root cause, because again, that anatma is happening, but that difference is there, but still that that connection happens, and that leads to sorrow, insecurities, and fear. Like I was reading yesterday one Kathopanishad, in that Guruji has given an example, like if he took some sadhak with him and for a ride in a Disneyland, and uh, there they when they had a ride on some roller coaster type of this thing, there was such a fear, and then when they came back after the ride, then Guruji asked, what did you feel, how are you feeling? So they said that, Guruji, we don't want any ride, and we were thinking like our knowledge was left in Bangalore. It is, that when we were in that state, we could not, that knowledge wasn't with us. Because of that fear, that though we have read so much of the Shastra and everything, knowledge, but when we were in that state, all the knowledge wasn't with us, it was in Bangalore. So it is uh, that situation in which we are sometimes in that state. When we are undergoing that state, it is very difficult for us to uh, be in knowledge at that time. It is only that abhyasa, and I think more of you can say that guru grace, or maybe, like, I don't know, basically, but it is very difficult to be in knowledge in that state in which there is so much of suffering or fear or sorrow. So it's difficult to pull yourself and remember that knowledge. So I was just relating it, how it is, that sorrow, how it seeps in, though we are in knowledge, but still it comes, and we are relating always, uh, because we are relating that sorrow with ourselves. So just that point I wanted to say. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very relevant. But here, the key again is about building up our awareness. The root cause is confusion, non-awareness, ignorance, or Maya, the delusion of Maya. So, how do we cut that out? With the sword of awareness, the sword of understanding, the sword of recognizing what is real, what is not real. And how do we
When
build that awareness? is by increasing our energy, increasing our prana,
One more
which
example I'm
Percy,
remembering. Sorry.
yeah, no problem. Which Percy ji very beautifully told us, no, when he was talking about the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. Since when you build your energy from the bottom up until when it's fully there in that Agnya Chakra, you're fully aware. Then this question of getting, even in that situation where you're on the roller coaster, when you're aware, then that fear will not be, you will not be overcome by that fear. So therefore, all our practices, along with this, along with Shastra, along with Vedanta Shastra, is about building up our awareness. Yeah, go ahead, Sarlaji.
One more example I was remembering, that merry-go-round, when we are sitting on the horse and that moving, so everything around is moving, but we think we are moving, but we are steady there. So that steadiness, if comes, then everything is just moving. Means that is anatma, like that is happening, just going, going, going. Means I'm not able to explain it properly, but what I remember is this example.
Talking about roller coaster ride, right? Inherently, people have some fear of going. I mean, about the heights, or especially when they're going that fast pace and things like that. And your equilibrium get affected, so that you're losing control. You're that kind of feeling, right? And some people even faint, and because of the dizziness that causes. So those things obviously can bring that kind of things where they only would experience some physical symptoms, things like that. But my own experience is like, as you know, as Dr. Brahma mentioned, is awareness. And of course, what you can do, what you cannot do, some of that kind of matters in the Disney part of it. But to me, this, in my own experience, it helped me. I probably told you this before. Um, when I had to go through this personally, the surgery, I wasn't afraid, mostly, when you have such a problem and things like that, you will think of the worst thing that can happen to you, and then you worry about everything else in the world. But in after reading this particular sloka, right, what's going to happen? You're going to make it, or you will make you hopefully that's a positive attitude that I had. But at the worst, what can happen? This is it. This is all God's will, and God will help you. And that one of the thing that helped me. And then keeping in this knowledge, like I I'm more kind of in that part of it, not worrying as I used to, like or like this feeling sad or worry about it. You just face the problem and how you take care of it and go from there. Recently I had recent means my grandson is 9 months old. Dr. Brahma asked me to send picture and I haven't. He was pretty cute baby, but when he was born, he had anteriorly placed anal canal, and then that point, he wasn't passing my quinine. He had to have colostomy, this and that. It was a little bit of a concern, and of course, my children, they were wanting to deal with it by themselves. They didn't want me to be there and all that. And all I was doing is, please show us the way, like really praying hard. And then the next thing like he was able to pass the meconium and all that. After 2 months, he had to go through surgery again for the anal canal, for things like that. So we've been and then he had a small amount of fatty tissue and the spinal cord. Then he had to go through another surgery. This is a little baby. Within 6 months, he had to go through surgery and all that. But then, it's one of those things, like you just keep your faith, like where that one, two lines we read, Lord, hurry, removes all your problems. And which is really true. He's really, I'm very, very grateful and, and fortunate to, he gives you the problem, but he also removes the problem. He was really, um, like that. Hari is always there. So I just want you to know that whatever difficult situation you're in, it's not like blindly going about it, but then you have that faith. One is very, very important. On top of it, having this knowledge, like, uh, it also helps, to understand, like, that what one sentence we read, sorrow is to be anchored into and understand. So that, it's that every word, meaningful to me. Thank you.
Another thing too is, if I remember, there were 3 A's I think Gurudev had talked about when he spoke about Bhagavad Gita. One is acceptance. Second is awareness. Can't remember whether there was a third A. When you accept things as they are, then it will lead to that settling down. The longer it takes for you to accept, the longer does your restlessness or miseries remain.
Yeah.
The moment we accept, and of course, it's not passive acceptance. Of course, you have to do whatever is to be done.
Right. We can't just
But
accept it, and yeah, like
yes,
you said, we have to get through
yeah,
it. But he's
go
doing
through it.
better. Hopefully, he'll.
Very good. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So I think we'll stop here today. We have 5 minutes more. So we'll do the acceptance meditation. We'll go to verse 12 tomorrow. I hope the internet was okay throughout the reading, except for that little bit of hitch. But do let me know in case there is
Yeah,
any
yeah. Only that couple of
disturbance.
sentences only. Otherwise,
Yeah,
you are fine, Dr.
yeah.
Panda.
ॐ लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु जय गुरुदेव
Meditation is accepting this moment, living every moment totally with depth. Let us keep our spine erect and body relaxed and eyes closed. Relax your shoulders. Keep a big smile on your face. You're sitting like the statue of Buddha, very serene and with a serene smile on your face. Relax your body. Let's take a deep breath in and breathe out. Become aware of your chest region, throat and chest region. If you notice some tension in the body, just let it be. Except those parts of the body where you feel a tension, the other parts are in comfort. Other parts are at peace. Become aware of that also. There are many good things about you and inside of you. Acknowledge them. They will never leave you. And the negative aspect you may see in you is never going to stay with you forever. They are all guests for some time. Let them be. Sit with the total acceptance of yourself the way you are at this very moment. Total acceptance of what is now here will lead us to deeper meditation. Let go of all the effort. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Let go of all your effort and be in this emptiness. And slowly and gradually become aware of body and surroundings. And you may gently open your eyes.